Miami, July 4th, 2026. Hard Rock Stadium. Over 65,000 fans pack the stands. This single stadium holds more than 10% of the entire population of one of the nations competing on the pitch today. That nation is Cabo Verde, 10 small islands in the Atlantic Ocean, with a population of just over 530,000, the second smallest country in history ever to qualify for the World Cup. Their opponents: Argentina, the reigning world champions, the #1 ranked team on the planet, led by Lionel Messi, appearing in his 6th World Cup and scoring like an unstoppable machine. Everyone expected a clean, simple 90-minute victory. Easy, routine, no debate. But Cabo Verde did not follow anyone's script. 120 minutes, 5 goals, 2 comebacks, a world-class wonder strike, and a 40-year-old goalkeeper who had just 46,000 Instagram followers 3 weeks ago and now boasts nearly 15 million, nearly 30 times the population of his entire country. If you haven't heard this story yet, take a seat, because this is more than just a football match. It is the most beautiful story World Cup 2026 has given us. If you love football for stories like this, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell right now so you won't miss any upcoming videos. Now, join me as we take it from the beginning. Group H of the 2026 World Cup featured Spain, Uruguay, Saudi Arabia, and Cabo Verde. Before the tournament began, ask any expert in the world, and they would tell you Spain would top the group, Uruguay would finish second, and Cabo Verde, ranked 67th in FIFA and making their World Cup debut, would quietly pack their bags after 3 games. No one would blame them if they lost. No one expected anything from them. They were here to gain experience, to learn, to enjoy the World Cup atmosphere once, and then go home. But Cabo Verde did not come to America for a vacation. In their opening match on June 16th in Atlanta, Cabo Verde faced Spain, the European champions and heavy title contender. The result? 0-0. And this was no desperate park-the-bus draw. Vozinha, their 40-year-old goalkeeper, made 7 saves on target, 6 of them from inside the penalty box. He played as if his hands held magnets, as if the goal behind him had shrunk just enough for a single ball, yet even that ball could not pass. That night, a miracle happened on the internet. Brazil's Cabo TV called on its viewers to follow Vozinha on Instagram. Within minutes of the final whistle, his follower count skyrocketed from 46,000 to 1 million. Before sunrise, it hit 5 million. Today it stands at nearly 15 million, more than Jalen Brunson and Victor Wembanyama combined, more than Shohei Ohtani, and closing in on Tom Brady. A goalkeeper from an island in the middle of the ocean, who had never played in a major European league, became a global phenomenon in just 90 minutes. In their second match on June 22nd in Miami, Uruguay 2-2 Cabo Verde. Falling behind twice against a 2-time world champion team, they came back twice. Cabo Verde refused to accept that they were inferior. They fought, clawed, and equalized as if the life of their entire nation depended on every single ball. In their final group match on June 27th, Cabo Verde 0-0 Saudi Arabia. That result was enough for Cabo Verde to finish second in Group H, undefeated. Not Spain, not Uruguay. Cabo Verde was the team that went undefeated in the group stage, and the world quickly learned their name, Tubarões Azuis, the Blue Sharks. Before diving into the Argentina match, let's take a moment to talk about the most special figure in this entire story, Josimar José Évora Dias, known to the world today as Vozinha. In Portuguese, the official language of Cabo Verde, Vozinha means little grandmother. It sounds funny, but behind that nickname lies a whole childhood. He was born in 1986 in Mindelo, a small city on the island of São Vicente. With his father in the military and his mother working long hours every day, young Josimar was raised by his maternal grandparents. The nickname, Little Grandmother, wasn't given to tease him. It was a name of endearment, used by the entire neighborhood, knowing he was being raised by his grandparents. When his father wanted to name him Valdano, after Argentine striker Jorge Valdano, who helped Argentina win the 1986 World Cup, just 26 days after Vozinha was born, the local authorities refused because it was a foreign name. So the boy was named Josimar instead, though everyone continued to call him Vozinha. The most incredible thing about Vozinha isn't his talent, it's his patience. He didn't start his professional football career until age 25, an age when Iker Casillas had already won a Champions League and Gianluigi Buffon had guarded Juventus for years. Vozinha was just taking his first steps with an amateur team, Batuk, in his hometown. From there began a wandering journey that, on a map, looked more like someone on the run than a football career. Cabo Verde, Portugal, Angola, Cyprus, Moldova, Slovakia. Lower-tier leagues where the stands held only a few hundred people, clubs Google couldn't easily find, overnight budget flights between countries where he spoke no language other than Portuguese. The only professional trophy of his career was the 2018 to 2019 Cypriot Cup with AEL Limassol, a trophy most football fans globally don't even know exists. But there was one thing Vozinha never abandoned, no matter where he was in the world. Whenever Cabo Verde called, he always showed up. For 14 consecutive years in the national jersey, over 90 international caps, he remained an unyielding wall for 10 islands in the middle of the ocean. In 5 home World Cup qualifiers, Vozinha did not concede a single goal. At 40 years old, appearing in his first, and likely last, World Cup, his mother, Ana Candida Évora, spoke to Cabo Verde's national television before the opening match against Spain. "No ball will get past my son's hands." She was right, but she couldn't be there to watch that match. Cabo Verde was on a list of countries where citizens required a deposit of up to $15,000 to enter the United States. The family didn't have the money, and plane tickets were far too expensive. It wasn't until Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, the U.S. House Minority Leader, intervened directly with the State Department that her visa was approved. Ana Candida flew to Miami just in time to sit in the stands and watch her 40-year-old son step onto the World Cup stage for the first time in his life, not as an extra, but to stand toe-to-toe with the champions of the world. July 4, 2026, round of 16 of the World Cup, Argentina versus Cabo Verde at Hard Rock Stadium, Miami. Temperatures soared above 35 degrees Celsius with suffocating Florida humidity. The stadium was packed, mostly with the sky blue and white of Argentina, interspersed with vibrant patches of Cabo Verde blue, small in number but equally loud. Every expert, every bookmaker, every algorithm on earth predicted an easy win for Argentina. Messi was on fire, scoring 6 goals in his previous 4 games and finding the net in 7 consecutive World Cup matches, an all-time record. The ball rolled. For the first 25 minutes, Cabo Verde defended in an organized, compact, and disciplined block. Argentina held possession but created few chances, just 2 shots, both from Messi, both saved. Cabo Verde even launched a few dangerous counterattacks with long balls over the top of the Argentine defense. By the hydration break, as Miami sweltered, Cabo Verde still stood firm. The world began to whisper, could it really happen? But this was Messi, and Messi doesn't need much. In the 29th minute, Lisandro Martinez launched a magnificent long ball from deep over Cabo Verde's back line. Messi drifted like a ghost between the shoulder and back of his marker. As the ball dropped, Messi took a mazy, light, perfect first touch, then lofted it over the rushing Vozinha on his second touch. The ball floated into the net. 1-0. Messi's 20th World Cup goal, scoring in his 8th consecutive World Cup match, an all-time record. At halftime, everything was unfolding as expected, but inside Cabo Verde's locker room, no one collapsed, no one bowed their heads. They knew they had conceded to a stroke of individual genius, not a system failure. They knew that if they kept playing this way, their moment would come. In the second half, Cabo Verde transformed completely. They pushed higher, pressed aggressively, and stopped sitting deep. They actively went searching for an equalizer. In the 59th minute, Ryan Mendez played a short pass from the left to Deroy Duarte at the edge of the box. Duarte received the ball with his back to goal, turned, and struck it. The ball flew straight, powerful, and precise, drilling into the far corner. Emiliano Martinez, one of the best goalkeepers in the world, could only stand and watch. 1-1. Deroy Duarte's first international goal of his career, and he chose to score it against the world champions in the knockout stage of the World Cup. The entire stadium paused for a beat. Even Argentine fans had to admit this was no lucky goal. It was class, pure technique, the explosion of a man who had waited his whole life for this moment. From the 59th to the 90th minute, the match turned into a duel between Messi and Vozinha, two men near the end of their careers, each fighting for different reasons, but with the same fire. In the 63rd minute, Messi broke through one-on-one. Vozinha rushed out, smothered the angle, and saved with his whole body. Messi couldn't believe his eyes. In the 73rd minute, Argentina earned a free kick. Right as the referee blew the whistle, Messi caught Vozinha setting his wall and struck quickly. The ball curled toward the top corner. Vozinha, on pure instinct, launched himself from one post to the other, stretching his arm to full length to tip it wide. The 65,000-strong crowd gasped. In stoppage time, Messi took another direct free kick. The ball dipped sharply with wicked spin. Vozinha saved it again. 8 saves in the match. A heroic performance. 90 minutes ended. 1-1. We were going to extra time. Before extra time began, cameras panned across both benches. On the Argentine side, tense faces. They hadn't planned on playing another 30 minutes. On the Cabo Verde side, tired, clearly exhausted, but their eyes shone bright. They knew they were living a once-in-a-lifetime moment. Extra time started, and Argentina didn't wait around. In the 92nd minute, just 2 minutes in, a corner kick drifted into the box. Lisandro Martinez found space and lashed a strike into the roof of the net. 2-1 for Argentina. In living rooms across the globe, fans sighed. That's it. Cabo Verde had fought far beyond expectations, but quality is quality. Argentina was simply too strong. The fairy tale had reached its end. Against all odds, Cabo Verde refused to surrender. They pushed forward, knowing they had nothing left to lose. In the 103rd minute, the ball was worked out to the right flank to Sidney Lopez Cabral, the fullback, at the edge of the box. Normally, a fullback in that position would cross or play it back, but Sidney did nothing normal. He cut inside one step and unleashed a rocket. The ball left his foot like a bullet, curling fiercely into the top corner. Emiliano Martinez stretched out a hand, but the ball was too fast, too far, too beautiful. 2-2. The world froze. Commentators screamed. The stands erupted. Cameras shook. Sidney Lopes Cabral didn't run toward his teammates. He vaulted the advertising boards, jumped into the stands, and embraced his family, crying, laughing, shaking, all at once. He couldn't control his emotions, and no one wanted him to. Sidney Lopes Cabral was born in 2002, in the Netherlands, to Cabo Verdean parents. In the 2021-2022 season, just 4 years prior, he was playing in the 5th division of German football. 5th division, amateur level, no stadium cameras, no covered stands, no press coverage. From there, he climbed to Germany's third division, then to Benfica in Portugal, then Trabzonspor in Turkey. And now, standing on a World Cup pitch, he had just scored arguably the goal of the tournament against the world champions in the 103rd minute of extra time. 5 years ago, German fifth tier. Today, the World Cup. Football allows such miracles to happen, and that is why we never stop loving it. But football can also be cruel, and it was about to prove it. In the 111th minute, Messi delivered a corner. Christian Romero, Tottenham's centre-back, rose highest and powered a header. The ball struck defender Dini Borja's arm, deflected past the outstretched Vozinha, and settled into the net. 3-2. The deciding goal came not from a tactical failure, nor from being outclassed, but from a cruel deflection off an arm, the harshest way to lose a football match. Still, Cabo Verde did not give up. Even as the clock ticked down its final seconds, they threw everything forward. In the 120th minute, Zaire Semedo headed just over the bar. Livramento struck right in front of goal, but the offside flag went up. Benchimol went one-on-one with Emiliano Martinez, but the Argentine keeper saved with his legs in an extraordinary reflex stop. 120 plus 3 minutes, the final whistle blew. Argentina 3, Cabo Verde 2. When it ended, Vozinha dropped to his knees on the pitch, hands covering his face. Around him, teammates embraced and wept. In the stands, his mother, Ana Candida, the woman who almost couldn't make it due to visa fees and plane tickets, was also crying. But she cried, not out of shame, but out of immense pride. Cabo Verde's performance was no fluke. Emotion is one thing, but let the statistics tell the rest of the story, proving Cabo Verde didn't just rely on luck for 120 minutes. Possession: Argentina, 55%. Cabo Verde, 38%. 7% contested. A gap, yes, but far from a 70-30 domination. When Cabo Verde had the ball, they knew what to do with it. Total shots: Argentina 22, Cabo Verde 16. Remember that number, 16. Cabo Verde generated 16 shots against the world champions. This was not a team that parked the bus and prayed for luck. This was a team that came to play football. Shots on target: Argentina 10, 46%. Cabo Verde 5, 31%. Argentina shot more accurately, but Vozinha rendered most of those efforts meaningless. Shots inside the box: Argentina 15, Cabo Verde 6. Here Argentina showed their dominance, penetrating the box 2.5 times more. Shots outside the box: Argentina 7, Cabo Verde 10. Sidney Lopes Cabral's wonder strike proved that sometimes long-range efforts change games. Passes and accuracy: Argentina completed 793 of 862 passes, 92%. Cabo Verde completed 415 of 495 passes, 84%. Argentina held the ball much more, but Cabo Verde maintained an impressive pass accuracy. Crosses and accuracy: crosses were tied 19-19, but Cabo Verde completed 7 accurate crosses to Argentina's 5. Cabo Verde was actually more precise in the air. Tackles and duels: tackles were 27-26. Fouls were 13-12. Yellow cards 1-1. Red cards 0-0. Offsides 3-2. A clean, fair, professional match from both sides. Expected goals: XG, Argentina 2.16, Cabo Verde 0.45. Statistically, Cabo Verde was expected to score less than half a goal, yet they scored 2. Every rare chance they created, they converted into gold through sheer will and desire. When the final whistle blew, sealing Argentina's 3-2 victory and eliminating Cabo Verde, what happened next was the real reason this story matters. Lionel Messi, instead of rushing to celebrate with his teammates or waving to the Argentine fans, did something else. He walked straight toward the Cabo Verde players, alone, unprompted, with no staged cameras. He shook every hand, embraced each player, stopping long enough with everyone to say a few words, look them in the eye, and let them know that what they did on that pitch was recognized. Then he reached Vozinha. The two men embraced in the center of the pitch. One man, 39 years old, 6 World Cups, 20 World Cup goals, 8 Ballon d'Ors, his name etched into history. The other, 40 years old, a journeyman career through Cabo Verde, Angola, Cyprus, Moldova, and Slovakia, with 1 Cypriot Cup and his first, and likely only, World Cup. After the match, reporters asked Vozinha what he and Messi said to each other. Vozinha recalled, his voice still trembling, "I went up to him, and before I could say much, Messi embraced me and said, 'Congratulations, you are a great goalkeeper. The people of your country should be very proud of you.'" Hearing those words from someone like Leo meant everything to me. I thanked him and said, "Thank you, Leo. You are the best." Then I asked if I could have his jersey. Messi smiled and replied, "Of course. I'll give it to you in the tunnel. Moments like that stay with you forever." Vozinha shared something even more touching. 4 years earlier, during the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, he had sat in front of his TV, cheering for Argentina. He was a passionate Messi fan who jumped when Messi scored and cried when Argentina lifted the trophy. 4 years later, he stood opposite the very icon he had cheered for on television, not in the stands, but on the pitch, face to face as equals. He saved Messi's shots 8 times and stared into the eyes of the GOAT without flinching. "My team fought with everything we had," Vozinha said. "I know this result is hard to accept, but our effort and sweat on that pitch will always be something to be proud of." For Messi, attending a World Cup is routine. 2006, 2010, 2014, 2018, 2022, 2026. For Vozinha, it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Instead of just celebrating his team's qualification, Messi chose to pause and pay respect to the man who made him work hardest in the entire tournament. Then came a moment no one planned or staged, but no one will ever forget. As the Cabo Verde players and staff prepared to leave the pitch, tears in their eyes and heavy steps, applause began to ripple through the stands. Not from the Cabo Verde end, but from the Argentine supporters, thousands of Argentine fans who had just endured the most nerve-wracking 120 minutes of their lives, watching their team nearly get eliminated by an island nation of 530,000 people, stood up together to applaud their opponents. A prolonged, genuine standing ovation. The Cabo Verde players looked up, saw the stands, and realized they had earned something rare, absolute respect from the very people who had just defeated them. Messi said after the match, "We saw what Cabo Verde did against Spain and Uruguay. We knew this would be a very tough match. In knockout rounds, there are no easy opponents. People tend to underestimate lower-ranked teams, but we were cautious because we knew this would be a real test. A real test from a team that, 3 weeks prior, the world had to Google just to locate on a map. That is football. Not just who wins or loses, but what you leave on the pitch, how you make your opponents and fans feel, and how authentically you play for those 90 or 120 minutes. In Cabo Verde, there is a word locals use that no language can translate precisely: morabeza. Morabeza isn't simply hospitality or optimism, it is both and much more. It is the spirit of appreciating what you have, living warmly and happily, no matter how modest your circumstances, opening your heart to the world while never forgetting who you are. Tiago Évora, a Cabo Verdean living in the capital, Praia, spoke about Vozinha and the team. "Vozinha is our warrior. He always rises in the biggest moments. He's been Cabo Verde's #1 goalkeeper for 14 years. His resilience, dedication, and love for our country have always been there, long before the world knew his name. Tiago added, "We cherish the small things in life, that is Morabeza. Cabo Verdeans live happily and warmly with what they have. And this match means so much to us. I think it shows everyone that dreams are within reach. 530,000 people, 10 islands in the ocean, no professional national league, no world-class academies, no vast wealth or infrastructure. None of the minimum conditions big football nations rely on. But they have Morabeza. They have the belief that the size of your dream doesn't depend on the size of your country. And in 3 short weeks, at World Cup 2026, they proved that to the entire world. Cabo Verde lost 2-3 to Argentina after extra time, and their World Cup 2026 journey ended in the round of 16. But look at what they left behind. An undefeated group stage, 0-0 versus Spain, 2-2 versus Uruguay, 0-0 versus Saudi Arabia, finishing second in Group H, without a single loss in their debut World Cup, pushing the defending champions to 120 dramatic minutes in the knockouts, featuring 2 comebacks, an unforgettable wonder goal, and a 40-year-old goalkeeper who became a global icon. Vozinha, going from 46,000 Instagram followers to nearly 15 million, making 8 saves against Argentina and 7 against Spain, with 14 years of dedication, capped off by a legendary embrace from Messi. Sidney Lopez Cabral, rising from the German 5th tier to a World Cup wonder goal in just 4 years, leaping into the stands to hug his family. Deroy Duarte, scoring his first international goal against the best team on the planet. Ana Candida Evora, a mother who almost couldn't attend due to visa fees, sitting in Miami to watch her son stand as an equal beside Messi, and thousands of Argentine fans standing to honor an opponent that kept them awake with fear for 120 minutes. Football can be unfair with results, but it is always fair to those who dare to dream. Cabo Verde didn't bring home the trophy, but they brought home something money can't buy and trophies can't replace: the absolute respect of the entire world, and living proof that anywhere, even across 10 small islands in the middle of the Atlantic, football can create miracles. Though defeated, Cabo Verde remains the true winner in everyone's hearts. Long live the Blue Sharks. Tubarões azuis para sempre. If Cabo Verde's story touched you, please like and share this video so more people can discover this extraordinary journey. Leave a comment telling me which Cabo Verde moment at World Cup 2026 inspired you most. Sydney's wonder goal, Vozinha's heroic saves, his mother's story in the stands, or the standing ovation from the Argentine fans. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notification alerts for more of football's greatest stories. See you in the next video.